All right, Ramesh, how are you today, sir?
I'm doing great, George. It's nice to be with you to talk about uh, framework today.
Oh, wow, we've got such an exciting webinar today, Ramesh. Well, first and foremost, it's a pleasure to talk to you as well. Today is a very exciting day for Reliability X, for Ramesh Gulati, and for the entire maintenance and reliability community as a whole. I think we've got a phenomenal framework that we're going to introduce for folks. Before we show it or reveal it to everybody, what are your thoughts? What emotions are you going through right now?
Well, again, many of you guys who are listening this podcast have seen my book or read my book or have attended some of my seminars somewhere. So everything is there. But many of you have asked me, hey, how do you start a journey? We want to know where we are and what we should be doing, kind of a drop a map. So, I mean, most of the material is in the book. So, but these are not direct. So we put together, George and our team, Joe, we all together put a framework together, pull out the essence of the book in this framework to speak. That will help us to assess where we are and also help us to put a strategy together and a roadmap. And that's what essentially we're going to do today. Go through this framework, the building blocks. How do you start a program?
Oh, that's fantastic. Well, without further ado, why don't we let everybody see what it looks like?
Sure, let's do it. Boy, here it comes.
Wow, that is some exciting stuff, Ramesh. Let's take a look a little deeper with respect to us seeing it on the screen, where we can kind of have a conversation and talk in general a little bit about it. It looks complicated, but I think what it does is it simplifies how complex it really is to achieve reliability.
Well, again, I mean, all the building blocks we are showing you is there. And if you see the top one, we call it competitive advantage. And this competitive advantage is final outcome. What every organization, company looking for. They want to be a profitable organization, making some profit. If you are for non-profit, you are want to break even. So you're looking for quality, you're looking for safety, sustainability, employee engagement, and these are kind of basic things most of organizations, companies are looking for. So we call it a competitive advantage. That's outcome of what we do. And then we have a other part like asset management, maintenance management, operation reliability. Hey, we need to get operation involved. They are the real owner of the asset. So we got operation reliability. And the bottom line, the foundation of all this based on culture and leadership. So we're going to start, as we are talking about, we're going to start with the culture and leadership and go all up to competitive advantage. So this is kind of everything what we're talking about, these building blocks are in the book, but they not be specified that way. Because when I was writing this book again, way back, 25 years ago, I was teaching my guys. I was learning too. I was I was sending my people to different places to get educated. Unfortunately, there was no body of knowledge available at that time. In fact, SMRP was no, I mean, they were looking also. So with like-minded people, we got together, we developed a body of knowledge. What's required to kind of define what a maid laboratory professional should look like, what kind of knowledge this person should have. And that's what and also my objective that time was to make this book so its goal is in for educational institution they can use in the colleges and schools. But now what we learned last 20 years or so in teaching this that some of people we because we don't teach these things there, they are looking for a framework so easy to get. So that's what there was a need for defining this format, a framework, and that's what we have done.
Outstanding. Let's take a quick deeper dive into how all these things interconnect, right?
Yeah. And as I
Obviously, if
said
you don't
earlier,
lead people, you're in a lot of trouble. So
yes,
we've got to have the culture and leadership pieces. For us, that's foundational. For you, that's foundational.
yeah.
Walk us through how things disseminate from competitive advantage down to the shop floor. Like how does this connect?
Well, again, I say, hey, competitive advantage is a bottom line. That's what we're after. All of this, that's what we saw. But really, start from the bottom, like culture. We need a right culture. If you don't have a right culture, you cannot make improvements. Same thing, leadership support is necessary to do that. And once we got, then assets are owned by operators. They operate the assets. We have to create that culture where they take the ownership responsibility. That's what we're going to talk about: operation strategy, operational planning, 5S, centralizing defect calamity, problem solving, those kind of things we're going to talk about. Then comes the real work management, which is really the all work together. How we're going to get that work done more effectively. And that's what we're going to talk about: precision maintenance, lubrication management, work management, MRO store, how that play, and the failure management, and basic tool we use in asset management, CMMS. And then comes the asset management, the real asset. How we will take a, because many times what has happened is we most of us in this arena means liability area, we are from media side and we don't get involved. Again, we because most of the company we live in a very silo environment where design is someplace else, we meet as somebody else, tool managed by somebody else, or different kind of things. But we don't look from one a kind of a overall picture to speak. Okay, so that's what the asset management comes. What happens before asset get you bear, design. Before asset hits the floor, there a lot of things happen. And that's what we're going to talk about, using ISO principle, ISO 55000, asset management policy, SAM. We're going to talk about asset portfolio, workforce management, designing for reliability, reliability engineering, life cycle management, those kind of things. So all together, if we do things right, we get a really, we build our organization such a way they are more cost competitive. They make a quality products. And I've talked many times, safety and reliability go hand in hand. Safety and reliability. As we build safety program, we become reliable, or vice versa. As we build our reliability, we safety. And we talk about sustainability and making sure our people, which are key assets, are happy. They have high morale. you know, there's less turnover, and we become a best employed companies to speak for what we do. So that's kind of is a bottom line we are after. So that's kind of a whole in quickly in 2 minutes the whole this framework. There's nothing new. Everything is there. What we talk, I have talked in the book. Everything is there in the book, and we just pulled it out and put in a smaller pieces, building block, and you can look into each building block where you are, what else you have to do.
I love it. I love that it's building blocks. I love that you can piece them together to develop a very unique strategy for yourself. And we'll talk more about that as we go through today's webinar and announce an upcoming workshop related to this. But let's take a look. Let's start looking at the first domain that we're going to take a look at. So the first domain that we're going to take a look at is is going to be the culture domain. So why don't we just have a brief discussion about culture, and then when we wrap that up, we'll look at each of the building blocks individually. So let's start right away. So culture.
Hey, culture is what I learned. In fact, many of you have read my book or attended my seminar, and my first two chapters are talk about culture and leadership. What I found over the years that if you have to have right culture, otherwise your improvements, best practices, they don't stick. People forget. And culture is what people do, but nobody around. It's the values, beliefs, knowledge, which are shared within the whole group in the organization, and that drives action. So culture is something what people do when bosses are not around, and it's very important. Let's get to into and what's part of culture, how you build a culture. Again, let's go to the next one, George. Vision. All of us, all organization, whether organization or personally, we should have a vision where we want to be 10 years, 20 years, 30 years from now. It's kind of vision, hey, like not George, John Kennedy said in early 60s, hey, we have to go to the moon. He set a vision that 10 years, end of the decade, we want to be on the moon. We did. Again, the leadership provided right resources and those kind create their mission and values, and we got there. Same thing in organization. We need to have vision. Our department, meet a reliability department or whatever department, we should have a vision where we want to be. Personally, you should have a vision individually. Hey, I want to be 20 years from now or 10 years, I want to have a corner office somewhere on the top floor. That kind of vision. But then you can plan how I'm get there. That's is a mission is a very, very important vision. The next one is the same as a mission. Those are important. And the values, what we care for most. So those are kind of things are important. What we care, the values, mission, and vision, these kind of a thing help us to make the right decisions. That's what we're going to talk about. Because we need to making a decision based on these values and mission. That's what we do.
Yeah, you're 1,000% right. So vision being where are we going? Where are we headed? What
Yeah.
it's aspirational for us. Mission being how are we going to get there? And then values being what are the behaviors
What was
you'll witness, right?
that's
What are
right.
the things, the belief system that has to exist in order for us to successfully execute the mission?
What we care the most to make a decision. What's the values, so that's going to become important for us. And the next one, communication, because very, very important piece. We should be open, have an open communication. I mean, what I have found, lot of time, a lot of we have in organizations, we create a lot of conflicts. And conflict are created because we don't have good communication. We don't have open communication. So communication is a key thing to have a so that we know what's going on. Everybody knows, hey, what's going on, and we need to have a good open communication, open door policy for all our, especially our leaders. Especially our leaders, we should be listening to our people. We don't do that good job. And communication overall is a key part building the right culture.
Excellent. And then we move on to change management.
Wow. As I said, again, I'm going on. We talk about change management. Change management is real is so our people understand how this change is improvement. Improvement is change. This improvement, how this change is going to help them do their job better, more comfortably, better, easier, more effectively, more efficient, all those. But if people don't understand that, hey, how this change, improvement we try to make is going to help them to do their job better, more comfortably, easier, all of those kind of things. And that's a change management. And we need to, whether you are putting a new CMMS system, or you are putting a planning process, or you're establishing a store management system, whatever improvements you're trying to bring, you need to talk to the people, and they need to understand this change, whatever improvement we're trying to bring is going to help them. WIFM, we call it. So we go talk, when we have a more detail, where we going to talk with them, how to create a, what's in for me, and those kind of things. That's a part of change management.
Yeah, this is a critical building block, obviously, for a lot of reasons. From a leadership and culture perspective, it's one thing to be a person that goes around and says, well, you've got to fill out work orders because I told you to, right? Or, leadership is saying you've got to fill out work orders. That doesn't give someone the understanding of why they're doing it, right? And we've got to come from the aspect of people don't want that change just for the sake of it. They have to have a much better understanding and get to a point of ownership so that they're working for you to get everybody else to accept that
I
change.
mean, the people at the floor level need to understand, hey, how they own the ownership of that change. That's a key thing. Like, hey, we're going to build a new CMMS, we install it, we say, hey, from Monday, we're going to have this CMMS. Guys, use it. It's not going to happen. You need to really make them a part of this change. You have to talk to them why this change we are trying to bring. And many times, one of the major issue we have on the plant floor is like data quality. Now, if you show them how data quality, better data quality is going to help analysis better or decision making better, if show them something and then they understand, they will help you get the better data quality. We went through, we failed when we established our change museum and my sister. But initially, then we went to them, our floor people on the floor, talk to them, shoot them. Hey, if we don't do this right, data, if we don't improve data quality, we cannot make a decision. It's your job. What are we trying to do? Help you do your job better. And once they understand and take the ownership of that, data quality, things will go better.
Excellent, excellent. So that takes care of the culture domain. Whew, next up is leadership. We don't need
Yeah.
any of that, do we?
Lead, Leadership plays a key role. It should inspire people, influence people to do their job better. As a leader, we should be helping our people to provide them the right tools, right resources, all those kinds of things, and helping them to make informed decisions. So that's what we're going to talk about in this, is that, hey, how we can help them to do that job. So let's go to some of the building blocks in the leadership.
Excellent. So let's take a look at the first one up, Ramesh, which is business acumen.
You know, many times I tell people, maintenance guys, we need to be a used car salesman, selling car. We have to get money, and we don't do a good job what we do. People don't understand. They think, hey, maintenance guys or these guys, lovely guys, we give them money and they will do a job. We need to be really educating, hey, what we do is going to help the company, the bottom line. So we need to really help create a knowledge, understanding, because there are people in the finance department. We could be talking with them. We should be talking to quality department. We're talking to lab department. All these people, we need to be getting more money, resources to help us do the right things. And that's what business acumen is, how to justify, how to help to get more resources, money financially, hey, which we needed. And those that's what comes in a business acumen there.
Yeah, I think if you understand how the business operates, how they make money, what their goals are from a safety perspective or any other corporate goals that may exist, From a reliability perspective, you want to partner with those teams because the efforts you want to take to improve plant reliability ultimately have an outcome on finance and quality and safety. And so, the more you can understand what the objectives are on those, and the better you are at leading reliability efforts because you can partner with those groups. And certainly, you definitely need to know what the cost of downtime is in various areas so that you know where to focus your efforts,
You
right?
know, yeah, many people in different is because all the organization is siloed. There's finance department, quality department, all different departments. Hey, finance people wants to make also overall objective for all these departments is the same thing: stay alive, make money, so organization can grow. Okay, finance department has their goal. Okay, now somehow if we finance and we in maintenance or reliability or asset man, they understand our goal is same to make money, reduce downtime. But reduce downtime, we need to have more reliability, more reliable parts, or somehow those kind of things. So we cannot cut corner buying a parts which are more value-added parts, not cheapest part, best value-added part. Those kind of things we had. So once you work together with all different departments, they understand their goal and our goal is all same. They will help us to get the right resources and those kind of things.
Excellent. Next up, direction setting.
Well, hey, that's as it says, direction setting. It comes from the leadership. Hey, again, based on our right data and this kind of thing, we said that, hey, this is the way we go. We have vision and mission, and that's what we have to get there. So it's a kind of direction setting there.
Excellent. Up after that, we've got decision making.
Well, hey, we want right decisions at every level. Okay. Now, with proper understanding what we trying to achieve, with proper appropriate data, if we have quality data, we can make right decision. We want to make informed decisions. So whatever decision we make at whatever level, we are doing the right things. We want to minimize failures. No, we want to reduce our not cost. We want to make them higher productivity. Okay, so those kind of thing decision based on our data can help us to make the right decisions.
Yeah, and the other piece of this for me is the ability to be agile as a company.
That's right.
Understanding who owns decisions, using things like RACI charts, and understanding what role each person is playing in the decision making process, so that we're not, death by meeting and trying to come to consensus all the time. So decision making is understanding who owns decisions, getting them the right information to make good decisions, and as well as, like you had said, transitioning the company to making decisions based on data and analysis and informed decisions. We tend to
Hey,
run around trying to
as you,
find consensus, right? And that just takes far too long.
well, it's okay, but I mean, once people understand why we have made this decision, as you said, rest is important. Power, who's responsible, who's accountable, who should be consulted, who should be informed, all those kind of things, accountable, all those things important to make the right decisions. And they work together to make the right decisions.
Excellent. Up next is, let's see, up next is going to be team building.
Team building.
So let's get to team building.
Well, team building, working together is a key thing. Now, team building could be a smaller group or big group, all working together. I mean, again, you have to make sure that all of your people understand they are working together, not individual. Okay. I mean, I tell you, learn hard way. One of our secretary or our office support person, I mean, he taught us, taught us, hey, we are all working very hard all the time. We have to work together, having social events. He started, doing a birthday kind of a thing together. Or, in fact, we took our team to park outside. We had a special area where we can go work together, climbing a tree and all those kind of things. So we are kind of working kind of a working together as a not a, I was say is socializing and working together, understanding each other, how what's good for me, what's good for you, what's I don't like, I like this. So we are working, taking a conflict out of the picture. So those kind of things we have to do, team building, as well as that helps to make the right decision. I have another great example, which I mean, we had a CBM guru vibration. We get the data from the machine is vibrating, blah blah blah, and I'll give to go and talk to the technical owner or the technical engineer, process engineer on that. Hey, this is what is happening. Somehow they were not together to speak initially. And it so happened they started during lunchtime, they started playing the bridge together game for 30 minutes. And they came to know each other. They were having lunch together, something. As a result of that, now he knew this Brad is, he's a very good guy. He's and knows his stuff. He started believing him. Now, whenever I give him this data, hey, this was happening, he would take that and then try to do something. So it's kind of a building team. That's very important.
You can have an
Mm,
awful lot of highly talented people accomplishing nothing.
Nothing.
And
Yeah.
you can also have a team of folks that, um, I guess, for lack of better definition, are middle of the road for folks, right? From a skill or enthusiasm standpoint. But when they work as a team, they get a lot more done. So
Yeah, that's right.
there's a significant piece to team building that's focused on how you naturally open communications, how people naturally interact to achieve better and come up with broader ideas and make better decisions. And team building makes that easy.
Easy, and it helps improving the communication, which is about, we talked earlier. Communication helps to do the communication more openly and more better. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, no doubt. All right, up next, we've got empowerment.
Huh? Empowerment comes also. Again, this could be, again, part of leadership is empowering people to do the right thing, right decision making. How we can empower so they can do at lowest level. If there is something wrong, this is a classical. I mean, I still remember back in '80s when I moved to Tennessee, Nissan, a Japanese kind of a organization, opened a new plant, and we were visiting that plant, and we asked the operator, "Hey, if something happens, what you do?" "Oh, I can stop the line." I mean, operator has a empowerment. If there's a not quality being built, he can stop the line and call whosoever vendor in Japan or somewhere to, hey, what's going on this? So that's kind of empowerment. And you see that also in some good hotel chains, the people on the floor are empowered to give you some discount or something. If you are not happy, something they say, okay, guys, I'm sorry this happened, but we're going to give you 10%, 20% discount. So those are kind of things, empowerment at the lowest level we can people do it. And that's really helps to build the culture in the improvement and make people more happier, the client more happy.
Yeah, no doubt. For me, it's about how do you get exponential benefits? And
Yeah,
exponential benefits come when everybody's trying to achieve the same things. And empowerment helps you get there. If you're a maintenance manager or a reliability manager, your incremental one time step change has, it adds value. But if you want
that's
exponential value, then you need an army of people focused on the same things and moving in the same direction. And to do that, we've got to get people empowered.
yeah.
All right, Ramesh, that takes care of our leadership domain. Up next, operational reliability.
Well, most of us, I mean, we have to work on assets. Operational people operates our asset. We need to understand what their needs are, what asset they'll be needing, how they're going to use it. All those things comes under operational reliability. I believe. What I've learned that, hey, asset owner operators who operate these assets need to understand why, why reliability is important, why maintenance is important, and how they're going to use. We need to understand their part also, how they're going to use this equipment, you know, and that's what this whole domain is talk about operational reliability.
Excellent. First, on the operational reliability side, we've got operational strategy.
Well, again, as I said earlier, we need to understand what operation needs are, what they're going to do, what product they're going to make, when, so we can have a develop or have a appropriate maintenance plan or reliability plan for that those assets. So we need to really need to understand, and they need to understand our needs. So why we need to do this, we need to understand why they are doing this, what equipment they are using. That's part of our operational strategy, as well as again we don't talk about operational planning is the same way.
Yeah, I think if you need a strategic asset management plan on the asset management side of the things, then between operational strategy and operational planning, you need to have the same thing with respect to how you will operate the equipment, what lines are most critical, why they're that critical. All of that sits inside your operational strategy, how you're going to connect to supply chain and procurement and all those other shipping and all those other departments that are necessary to have a smooth and reliable operation. So let's take a look next at
So
operational
planning
planning.
again, hey, what asset we need, what as you said, component, supply chain, all those kind of things comes in there in this operation planning. And also these component we are assembling or whatever we are doing in manufacturing, we need to ensure the quality of those things because they may create a problem if their quality is not right on those components, which can create a variation in the process and creates a problem in our assembly process. Sometimes, oh, that's a maintenance problem. There's not a maintenance problem. Could be, but again, it may start with these components and all those kind of things can create a problem for us.
Yeah,
But we need to understand all those things.
operations planning not only being when will we operate the equipment, are we making sure that we're not doing 5 changeovers a day back and forth to 2 different products. All that's operations planning, but so is the planning of raw materials to make sure they are adequate in volume and also within specification. I often ask people if procurement, in an effort to save a penny, buys substandard carget and it comes into the plant and ends up at the line and it creates jams, did the machine have a maintenance problem? Like, the machine is doing exactly what it was functioned to do, but we're giving it poor incoming raw material. And so we still have a reliability problem as a plant. We just don't necessarily have a maintenance problem as a piece of equipment. So operations planning plays a critical role in making sure that the overall plant is reliable.
Let me share with you, as you said, quick changeovers. And this plant, I was working in Kansas City. We had a plant where they made a rail anchor, and those we were making about 45 pieces a minute. A lot of money was involved. When you have a changeover, you had a new product we are trying to make our next product line. If a day it takes 2 hours to make those changes, you lose a lot of production. So we were able to, as a part of production improvements, we were able to justify that we could have a second set of press there, and we can have switch over to that. We can do that in beforehand, and we can switch over to next product within 20 minutes or so, 20, 30 minutes. But there was cost involved about $250,000, but we were able to justify that we quick changeover to this process can help. And that's kind of an operational planning part of process. So we, the reliability improvement people, work with the production people together. We come up with this new process where we can have another press sitting where they can make all these tooling changes, and we can move to this new product within 30 minutes instead of 2 3 hours, those kind of, and we were able to justify. So those are kind of a thing we can do in operation planning. And as we did, we made a lot of reliability improvement also there.
Excellent. Up next, 5S.
5S, dear to my heart, is a really important. How to, this 5S is to make sure our equipment are clean and properly lubricated, and we take the everything is there what we needed. There's no extra thing. That is, I learned hard way 5S 40, 50 years ago when I was training as a after during summertime. This guy who was owner of this those days operator was he took the ownership of that asset. He used to clean all these before he quit, making sure everything is cleaned. And during it was not just one time, during the whole day it was cleaning. And he made sure I was doing the same thing. He was teaching me. Value cleaning is that, hey, there's nothing you can see if there's any defect there, if oil is leaking or something, all those kind. So those 5S principle, you know, what's needed, what's not needed there, and having a right directions, all those kind of things are there. You know, we were visiting Anheuser, not Anheuser, this Milwaukee, what's the company? Uh, boy, I'm this old man. I keep forgetting.
That's
Uh,
okay. Tell the story anyway.
I mean, again, that plant, you know, Harley Davidson plant, uh, they had one of the best 5S program. You know, all the procedures, everything was on the machine, and there was a yellow line. Hey, this is the area you have to operate. Like, I mean, those are kind of 5S principles were applied, and that plan back those days was one of the best 5S plan I saw.
Yeah.
Same thing I saw it. A lot of other plants are doing this 5S TPM principles, and they do it, and they really look good, and they do a good job.
Whether it's in a mechanical space or on the plant floor, like you said, if it's in order, it's easy to spot defects.
That's right.
And everything else that we're going to talk about on in operational reliability, the remaining blocks, they require the organizational discipline that 5S creates, right? 5S is a standard that has to be followed, and if it is sustained, then you're creating organizational discipline to achieve that. And as we go to the next building block, which is CILs,
Cleaning.
the organizational discipline needs to exist. Yeah.
That's right. We need to make sure we're cleaning it, we are inspecting it, lubricating, all those the fundamental or maintenance reliability program. And 5S kind of help us to do that.
Yeah, CILs being clean, inspect, lubricate. So this is the first step in operator care. This is how an operator gets involved in understanding the physics of the line and everything that's going on, understanding how to set it up for success for the next shift. CILs are incredibly important in the ongoing operational reliability, as is our next building block, center lining.
Center line, making sure that we optimize our production process. Everything is right, falling right, and all our, uh, what I say, it's a process maintaining ideal operating condition. Our operators are looking all the things what's required, they do the right thing, and our uh, again, I more look into this. If you read the book uh, Goal, where which is a in your process there may be one machine may be creating a problem, you are taking care of those all kind of things and making sure everything is aligned properly aligned. That's a center like.
Yep, it's incredibly important. We've got a client right now who is having a lot of issues with a bag opening process. And operations and maintenance were consistently working on some suction cup arms and their angles and all kinds of things to try to optimize this station and remove the variation. But unfortunately, further upstream, the line wasn't centerlined very well, and there was bag variation coming into the bag infeed and how it would place it into the grippers that ultimately would take it to this opening station. And so, because of the bag height variation, sometimes you'd pull, but the bag itself would create a vacuum, so the cups wouldn't open it. Or sometimes the bag would be so low that the cups were on the edge of the bag, and so it didn't create a vacuum and wouldn't open it. And all the time they're trying to chase this variation, the issue was way upstream. Ensuring centerline throughout the process, one step at a time, is a great way to make sure that you have consistency in your manufacturing process. So centerlining, incredibly important. It's the equivalent of precision maintenance on the operations side.
Mhm. Especially if you are in a packaging certainly becomes very important. And I've gone through when I was working consumer products to Temper, and we knew the packaging of products are coming up packaging if they're not right. And again, whole thing as you said is ensuring we have a less variation or in a component we are assembling or something, and which can cause a problem there.
Outstanding. Next up, defect elimination.
Oh, defect elimination again reminds me my friend Ladet, you know, defect elimination process. We need to eliminate our defect at the source wherever we can, but it comes important with a operation side of the house where people are that hey, if they see something, right, they can eliminate it quickly as possible there and stop the line or whatever they do. And also, if there's a failures happening, we need to identify what the root cause of that problem, eliminate them as soon as we can. And we talk a lot more detail later on when we get the details of those.
Yeah. Defect elimination's like the safety program of operations, right? If you see it, say something. So if you're cleaning it and you notice a defect, identify the defect, get it in, get it solution, get rid of it so it doesn't cause a problem later, right? So
Uh,
outstanding. Next up is problem solving. Well, since we've found
well,
some defects, we're going to have to solve some problems.
that's right. And we need to really educate our people, make them sure how to solve the problems. In fact, defect elimination and problem solving go together. Say, hey, we really trying to solve the problem, and we need to. And as I said, team building. So the whole team works on it. It's not just individual working together solve that problem. And that's what Kaizen comes in the picture. TPM process. How they got better. Hey, that's another story about Japanese process where our quality guru helped them to understand this problem solving and Kaizen process where the operators get together at the end of the shift work. Hey, what happened? What losses we had? How we can solve that problem? That problem solving comes up with.
This is for me. It's not only the techniques necessary to solve complicated problems, but it's educating frontline staff on critical thinking skills, getting them
That's right.
to work backwards from a problem or a process in the plant, right there at the line, at the Gemba, get it solved, get it solutioned, and away you go. So identify the defect, but then you also have to be able to solution the problem, and that's what problem solving is all about. Next up, loss management.
Well, hey, that's what we are after. We have a lot of losses. We call them classical losses or these six losses, seven losses. But in our process, we lose downtime. I mean, equipment are down, and we lose for our components are not right. All these different reasons we lose it. We lose our, I mean, our production and how we can recover that. So we need to do a loss management. It could be downtime due to equipment failure, or it could be to component failure, or for many reasons. And we need to analyze it and then take the appropriate action to remove those defects or losses.
We've got to know where to focus, not only on the maintenance side of the house when we talk about maintenance and failures, but we also need to know where to focus on the operational side. And as you alluded to previously, Elijah Goldratt's the goal, understanding theory of constraints and where those losses should exist and where those losses do exist, and using the right techniques to go after those losses is incredibly important to the overall reliability of a plant. Oftentimes in maintenance and reliability, we focus on the maintenance side of everything, but more often than not, maintenance is only a fraction of the overall plant losses that exist. And so we want to certainly eliminate losses to improve overall plant reliability. Next up, process balancing.
Well, next one, we talked, you and me have talked about this is a theory of constraint.
Yeah.
And in a gold book, if you're not reading it, what happens in our process, there's some machine or some asset is producing more, other is producing less. They're not balanced. We have to make sure our lines are balanced. Each one is there's so one machine is causing constraint. We have to make sure that we have to do the right thing so it has a more producing competing with the matching with others. So that's kind of making sure your process is balanced and do the right thing. Somewhere you may having more losses or something, and how we can minimize. Somewhere you're producing more, so it's kind of matching the whole your line balancing it out.
Yeah, I think it's and even in non-manufacturing, this occurs in continuous process operations as well, right? Whether it's if you're producing some liquid chemical, or if you are in a waste treatment plant or a water filtration facility, balancing your process to make sure you can handle all the flow is incredibly important. So whether it's manufacturing or non-manufacturing, process balancing is a critical building block. Okay,
That's right.
oh, so that's the end of operational reliability. So after operational reliability, Ramesh, we've got to get through, I don't know, just a whole slither of stuff. So let's talk about maintenance management. So we're
Maintenance
going to shift
management.
from operations to maintenance.
Yes, and many of us do a lot of maintenance, and we have to make sure we are doing right maintenance on our right equipment at the right time. Okay, and that's what we're going to talk how to take care of our asset, or you know to do the right, execute the right maintenance program on our assets.
Outstanding. So let's take a look at our first maintenance building block. We've got
Asset
asset
strategy.
strategy.
As I said, hey, we need to understand what our asset is, what's appropriate, how we're using it, who is using it, how long is we going to use it, how many hours, all those kinds of based on we need to put a right strategy. Hey, what we're going to do on this asset. And that's I mean, in more detail, hey, we have to look at those and come up a right strategy for that asset.
Yeah, and this is not only a maintenance strategy, but it's also the strategy for operations. What tasks do operations have to do?
That's right. Again, hey, as a part of as a strategy, we're going to what operatives are going to do, what PM on a schedule basis we're going to do, what predictive maintenance we're going to do, all different kind of things, different players what they're going to do, and what time we're going to do a major overhaul or major modification improvement. So we need to come up. That's whole part of this strategy development. And some people call it reliable RCM. That's some people depends upon our needs. Some as I say, we nowadays most of we are calling asset strategy. Hey, what's based on our needs, how we use it, we come and we need to come up with right appropriate maintenance strategy on that.
Excellent. Up next, precision maintenance.
Well, maintenance, we need to do a quality maintenance, precision maintenance. when we aligning something, we have to make sure we align properly to the standards or whatever. You know, our machines, making sure we have is when the machine is sitting, it doesn't have soft foot or something. Those kind of things, what our people need to be have it properly trained with the proper tools, and those kind of do the right appropriate, right precision maintenance of that.
Yeah, if an asset comes in with a specific reliability, and we can mess that up as humans. We can do
Yes.
things not to precision and lower the life expectancy of an asset. And so
And again,
we want to make sure we have minimal negative impact to our asset.
when asset comes on the floor, we have to make sure, again, it's from factory we made and inspected. It's okay, but on the shipment might have changed things, and we have to make sure those are aligned properly. So
Excellent. So this is the use of things like torque wrenches and lasers and alignment tools, all those things that help make sure we do work with precision. Up next is lubrication management.
we have been talking lubrication earlier too. We have to make sure equipment needs some basic requirement. If they're rotating, we have to make sure is our proper lubrication is there, and proper grease is there. It's not just a proper right amount of lubricant is there, right? I mean, those are as a whole lubrication management program. We learned hard way that some of our oil in our systems, hydraulic systems, or in the gearboxes, when we new oil is coming, it was worse than what we have in our system. But learn hard way. So we have to ensure even the new oil coming in, we have to test it, make sure it's the right quality before we put in our machine. So that's again lubrication management, how we store it, and it's a lot bigger subject. In fact, we have a separate book or separate training program just on lubrication management.
That's right.
So
Yeah, we have an MLT1 preparation course, online self-paced. Lubricate between lubrication management and precision maintenance. That's probably 50, maybe even more percent of rotating equipment failures caused by one of those two things. We either
that's
don't lubricate it properly, or not to the right cleanliness, or not to the right levels, or as you mentioned, the wrong lubricant, or we didn't install it with precision or do our work with precision. And so far too often we do rework or shorten the life of our assets, and we don't want to do that. Up next, predictive maintenance.
predictive maintenance. We talk about all those kind of things, but we need to know what's the new technologies there. Hey, ultrasonic, infrared, all these different technologies available to us. How we can utilize that to do our maintenance better. Okay, so that's what predictive maintenance, understanding what's new technologies available. Hey, there's a new camera there which can scan your pictures and build it, see the vibration which you cannot see with the naked eye. But those you can use a robot, or you can use your or a different kind of technology to help us to do our maintenance better.
Yeah, this is the use of technology to give us a planning window. Predictive maintenance as a tool doesn't stop an imminent failure. The failure is still going to happen, but what predictive maintenance does do is it gives you knowledge before ancillary damage happens. So if we know a bearing is going bad before it blows apart and scores a shaft and costs us 3 times the amount of money it should, um, the use of these technologies gives us a heads up so that we can properly plan with minimal impact to operations.
Okay, the
All right, up next,
next
work management.
is a work management. That's again is a very big subject. What is we planned it? What maintenance we're going to do? PM, predict, whatever. How we going to execute that more efficiently and effectively? Yeah, I mean, we have different tasks. Now we have to execute them. And we have a process, we have to build a process so we can manage that, the whole work, what comes. And that comes under planning, scheduling, and then we're going to talk about stores and this thing as a part of work management.
Yeah, we can have a fantastic asset management plan. We can have great asset strategies, and it can all fall on its face if we don't manage the work effectively. If we don't partner with operations and get the assets that we need, if we don't schedule work that can be done at the same time together, we're not taking advantage of our backlog, or if we have no backlog, that's even worse. So work management for me is critical to making sure all the stuff we did previously comes to fruition and we can get it done effectively. Nice job.
Yeah.
Up next.
Again,
Oh,
we could
sorry. Go ahead.
say, hey, no, I'm saying we could have a great maintenance program. Means we have come using all predictive technology, all these kind of tasks. But if we can execute them, as you said, if operation production doesn't give you asset to do work on those, that maintenance program is no good.
That's
No,
exactly right.
so you have to work scheduling, working with the production, making sure they give you asset so you can work on those kind of things.
Yeah, no doubt. Up next, MRO stores.
Now, to do work, we need some spares. And those spares, what spares we need, what time we need, all those should be identified. It should be in our store readily available. If the planning is done right, the planner can reserve some spares what we need for that task, and we can it's available. We can go and get it. So that's again whole part of MRO store. What we need, when we need to order, minimum quality, maximum quality, or quantity, all those kind of things as a part of maintenance model stores.
Yeah, this is a massive building block. Obviously, it includes everything from how do you organize the storeroom, how do you identify your items inside a CMMS so that you don't search the word bearing and get 50,000 results that all just say the word bearing. It has to do with how much should you keep in stock, how do you do economic order quantities and figure out safety stock, and how do you, your entire reorder point analysis and ABC analysis piece. This is just a massive, massive building block and a necessary one. Up next, failure management.
Well, we talked a little bit about failure management and loss analysis. Failure management is managing your failures. So do more analysis on that and why these failures happening, doing a root cause analysis, all those kind of things. So we have to educate our people when they go for repair, fixing things, need to do some failure analysis on those root cause analysis. Plus, we need to establish whole the failure management process there so we can identify why failures are happening, what is the long-term solution for those kind of things.
Yeah, and I think the obvious question is why didn't we just call it root cause analysis? I think there's a broader piece to failure management that's administrative in some ways in terms of how you take some of the actions that may come from a root cause analysis and update your asset strategy, or even how check on a vendor that does vibe analysis for you and you send bearings out to get cut. You're kind of evaluating how you manage failures, not just an individual incident, right? So I think it's a broad spectrum of both of those things comprised in this building block. All right, so our last building block on the maintenance side is the dreaded CMMS or EAM.
CMMS, EM, that's again a very, very important tool for the maintenance people. It really identify what asset we are working when we create a work order, it's in the system. It help us to really get the work done, accomplished, and tell us, remind us, it's time to do this. Or where the spare parts we're going to get, how much is it going to cost. Again, back in the 70s, I've been involved with CMMS. That time it was computerized maintenance management system based on PC. But as we progress, this CMMS gone. It's an integrated process. It has now connection with the storeroom. It has HR, timekeeping modules also. It has all. It can connect to your financial system, get the data out from there. So now it's all integrated. That's what we call enterprise asset management now. And but still, people love the CMMS name, so it's still there. But really, it's a integrated of all different we are all together. Really started you to identify what assets you have to build a proper hierarchy, proper naming, as you said, what you want to call a bearing, and know what. So naming the components. So you have to do a lot of things when you are establishing a CMMS. Many times we don't do a good job putting right effort in the beginning, doing the right things. And if you don't do, you're going to have problem later on. So naming, structure, hierarchy, eh, all, and that is very, very important. In fact, when we do a training for those, and we spend 2 3 days going through this, a whole 9 yards of the how to set up a right CMMS system.
Beautiful. Excellent. Nicely done. That wraps up our maintenance management domain. And so we are now off to asset management.
As I said earlier, most of us came from maintenance background, and we try to see whole maintenance program, and we work on those after asset has been on the floor. I mean, then we started working on how to operate, how to maintain, what do we need, blah 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 blah. But if you think about it, a lot of things happen before asset gets on the floor. It's planned, it's designed, it's built somewhere, and then they get shipped. Then we install it, and we do the things, and then it's ready to operate. Things we need to be really paying attention is in it when asset is planned, designed, built. We maintenance operation reliability people need to get involved there to develop a strategy, the policy, what we're going to buy. The management should be involved in setting the policy. What kind of things we're going to buy to so that we don't have see problem what we see during operation phase maintenance is what really we did during design phase or when doing the building phase. If we don't do right things there, if we don't use the right component, people with right skills to build that asset, we're going to see the problem, what we see in operation for the, to the maintainers that time.
So,
So
first up,
asset,
asset management
I'm
policy.
sorry. So asset policy is really helps the management who takes the policy and sign it from a top man that what we're going to buy the best value parts. We're going to buy best right design asset is in the policy. We could train people right. So those are part of the policy. That yes, we have to make sure we have budget for the people, operator, as well as the maintainer. Again, that's a part of the asset management policy.
Yeah, this sets the tone for the entire organization, right? If you have connected your business objectives down to your assets through an asset management policy and our next building block, then you're laying the foundation to be successful. Next up, the SAM.
Then, strategic asset management plan, which really help. Again, I'm from old school. I mean, I did this back in even when there was no ISO. Again, this whole module is based on ISO 55,000, asset management standard. Okay, and part of me is there are some other thing also, but SAMP is what we use. I mean, we used to have a challenge with operation production people, with the finance people, hey, what our needs are, why we need this money, why need to make this change, this asset at this time or that time, what is our long new preventive maintenance program, predictive maintenance coming, what we need. We were we developed a kind of plan what operation based on their needs, what operation needs are for next 10, 15 years. Based on that, we said what assets are required, what kind of reliability we need, and based on what kind of reliability we need, we were able to say, hey, these are our financial requirements. These are things we can do in next 3 years, short term as well long term. What we're going to do in short term, what kind of a major PMs we have to do on our large machines or whatever machines we have in next 3 to 5 years, what we do in next 5 to 10 years. All those things are spelled out in this strategic asset management plan. Then we take it down to AMP, asset management plan, which was a short-term window. So those are kind of things you identify and able to show people in the whole corporation, whole organization, to finance people, hey, to production people, get them on board. Once they all are together, then your budgets gets approved much easily. So this really help us, as you say, it, to get the money, resources, all those kind of things, and do our job better, more efficiently.
So now that we have a strategic asset management plan and a way to connect the organizational objectives into a strategy for asset management, we've got to translate that and transpose that to our assets, right? So we've got an asset portfolio. Talk to me about the asset portfolio.
We need to know what assets we have, and, and that's what asset portfolio helps. We got all list of portfolio asset we have to operate or what we have to maintain. Some maybe we may not be using it for a while. All those kind of things we need to know what our assets are. And identify those assets will be identified in our CMMS system. So there's a linkage there. Hey, what we have, how we're going to operate them, when we're going to operate them, all those things are part of asset portfolio, knowing what we have and how we're going to use them when.
Yeah, I mean, this is pretty straightforward. What do I own? And how critical is it, right? All right, excellent. Outstanding. Up next, workforce management. So we've taken care of the physical assets. We now have to take care of the human assets.
That's right. That's again is important how to manage our people. We need to have a people with the right skill set. We have to ensure what asset we have, what kind of people we need to operate, maintain, what kind of training we will give them. So those are kind of things are really very, very important.
Excellent. Up next, we've got a building block that is near and dear to your heart, design for reliability.
Yes, you said it right. That's really very, very important for me. And I've been working on that because I learned the hard way. In fact, in my last job at Jacobs, I was pulled out from a reliability engineering job because they said, you have done there good, but let's go to help our project, capital project people where we are designing our equipment. And there we kind of looked designing for reliability improvement because what you build, what kind of parts you build, and how you design, it makes a lot of difference. Because most of our costs, what we're going to do in operation, get fixed over there. So designing for reliability comes in a very, very important for us. And there's a lot more as we go in more detail. We can talk about that.
Yeah, no doubt. I mean, this is another massive building block that includes the basics of design from a maintainability perspective, the basics of design in terms of what reliability do you need from your assets, all of that encompassed in design for reliability. And you have a connection to a mutual friend who, in this space, has done an awful lot of great work. She's done work for me directly in one of my previous roles with respect to design for reliability, and the two of you are currently in the process of writing a piece on this. Why don't you give us a little bit about that?
Yes, Marie Getzing and me have been working on this for the last few years, but somehow we both are busy. So, but yeah, we're going to be coming design for reliability, and it's a great subject because people don't pay attention. I mean, I'll give you example. When I went to this department, again, I've been to other companies also, Capital Project Group, where design was. I asked them, "Hey guys, where we do FMEA?" And answer I got, what FMEA? We don't do that here. Those people in Matas may be doing it. We don't do it here. And again, they were also afraid somehow the culture was different. I mean, again, it's a culture. They were told not to go see where these similar kind of equipments are there. I say, hey, do we go and talk to the people who are similar kind of equipment? Where, what kind of challenge they are having? We don't. So it was that whole culture was different. So you have to talk about get them all together. And FMEA is the first FMEA we should be doing when we're designing the equipment. That time they get defects out during design phase. Next you do when you are done operation phase. Hey, what else we can do? So you have to do by the time you get operational phase, you have done all the defects we have taken out as much as possible.
Yeah, no doubt. Up next, reliability engineering.
Well, reliability engineering is important because many times we need to know what's MTBF. I mean, I ask that question I do when I do the training, and we say, hey, how to calculate MTBF, how to collect MTTR. And those are kind of things of basic understanding, and people don't know how to do it. The simple thing, I try to simplify. I'm a this guy. I don't like the big math, but we need to do some basic how to calculate MTBF, how to calculate MTTR, how to do reliability. What's my reliability for so many hours of operation going to be with how to collect the failure data, all those kinds of, as part of reliability engineering.
Yeah, and I think in today's world, the maintenance engineer and reliability engineer terms are used interchangeably, although they are slightly different, right? With maintenance engineers focusing on what's existing on the plant floor and reliability engineers hopefully focused on the future. Um, but yeah, I think reliability engineering is an incredibly underutilized role in an organization. There's 400,000 manufacturing plants in the United States, and I forget the number. There's less than 4,000 reliability engineers.
Well,
Huge,
we
huge
don't,
gap.
yeah, we don't have that many. In fact, I was part of I mean, organization where CRE, Certified Reliability Engineer, they are more on product side.
Yep,
There are not many on the reliability on the maintenance side, and that's what you're talking about. We don't have that many people.
exactly. Our last entity um, inside asset
Asset
management
management.
is life cycle management.
Hey, we that's also becomes very, very important. We need to know how much asset costs. What's it cost the whole for its life? When we need to replace it, all those kind of things comes in managing the whole life cycle. It's cost so much in operation, so much it costs to uh, in utilities, and so much in spares. At what level, when we need to do major repair or major modification, or should we when we replace it, all those kinds of analysis as a part of life cycle management we do so that we can be more or reduce our total overall cost of ownership.
Yeah, this is not only the Tero technology side of cash flows and how do you get the the right replacement time window, but it's even how do I dispose of it properly? How do I make sure that I'm spending the right amount in connection with design for reliability? How do we make sure all of those things happen at once? Um, whew, yeah, that's a mouthful. Life cycle management, especially today. I can't tell you how many plants I go to and their assets are 30 and 40 years old. You've got to have a life cycle management strategy if you're going to continue to operate an asset for that long.
Hey, we went through the place, last place I was working. It was Air Force facility. We had equipment which came from Germany after World War II. We
Yeah.
picked up. And again, challenges in I mean, some of the old equipments are good. They are more robustly made. Okay. But it's difficult to get the parts. I mean, even your control, we learn hard way, even your control systems. I mean, your equipment may be working okay, but your control system based on like most of the new control system on like Windows. Who I mean some are built in Windows 1 or 2. You cannot get support from Microsoft Windows 1 or 2. We have
Right.
Windows 11 or 12, So again, what we learn that it's not when we have planned for every 10 to 15 years, mechanical kind of electrical kind of a component, you replace it. Okay, they have life. But we were ignoring controls part. We thought, hey, they last for the whole life for life entity 50, 60, but not anymore because you need a support system like Windows and this. They are not there, so you have to replace them also currently. So it's kind of a managing all this as a part of life cycle.
Excellent. So that wraps up our asset management domain, and we are now going to talk about competitive advantage. Competitive advantage being the business objectives that you're expecting to achieve via reliable operation. So let's talk a little bit about the competitive advantage.
In fact, we talked a little bit about that when we started. This domain is really what we organization is after. How we can make stay alive, be profitable, to to stay competitive in the marketplace, have a more like most of time our organizations have a goal at corporate level, have a they don't say we want to make money, but they say we want to have more market share. We want to make our client be happy. They are getting quality products. All those kinds of high level goals and objectives to achieve those. In fact, what other domains we have talked so far helps to get here.
Excellent. So
So
first
that's
up would be financials.
yeah. Again, as a way, we have to be competitive. We have to making money. We have to reduce our losses. We have to write wages. We have to write operation. All things we have talked helps to get this one.
Yep, we've got to be cost conscious. We've got to be profitable. We've got to, give shareholder value back. All those things. That's why it's called financials and not profit or cost. But this one's incredibly important from a reliability perspective. Obviously, we want to make sure that we're adding value. We're not looking to make
That's,
an asset reliable for the sake of the asset. We do it for the sake of the business. And so
that's right.
financials is how we connect to that. Up next.
In equality, we have to ensure
Oh, sorry.
that
Quality.
we have to ensure whatever we are producing and whatever things we are doing, we are making sure we are producing quality products or services we are providing. And again, it's all together. Next is safety, quality, safety. These are kind of high level goals organizations have, and that's what we can work.
I like to go through these and ask a very simple question. Does maintenance and reliability have a direct impact on that business outcome, right? On the competitive advantage. And so obviously we already talked about financials. Maintenance and reliability, very obviously has a direct impact on the financials of a
Quality,
business. Uh, and they absolutely have a direct impact on product
on
quality. Yeah, yeah.
product quality and safety. And I talk a lot in my book, and here also we have talked that safety and reliability go hand in hand. As we become more safer, or become reliable, or reliable become safer. Think about when our people go to repair something. Now, if we have a proper plan, there'll be less chances of doing mistake or doing some accident. So there's a direct relationship. Safety and reliability go hand in hand. So safety, reliability, all these go work, and that they show up here in this competitive advantage domain.
Yeah, no doubt. Up next, corporate responsibility.
That's again comes from ISO standards. There's a ISO standard for 26,000 corporate responsibility. You know, we, the organization, live in a community, and we have certain obligations. We are part of the community, so we have corporate responsibility to take care of our assets. Assets are not spitting out bad I mean, a product, not just a product, the your water or gas
Yeah.
or air. We are not polluting that because we're using community. Or other side, a good citizenship, corporate citizenship, if something happened, disaster in our community area, a natural disaster or whatever, how we are helping our people. They're part of the whole community. So there are certain corporate responsibility. We have to take sure we are doing the right things. And as I said, there is a standard also which can guide us to do the right things.
Yeah. An organization's reputation means a lot, and in today's flat world, a reputation can be dismantled very quickly. Corporate responsibility helps make sure that they keep the integrity that they're advertising they have, right? Uh,
That's right. Yeah.
Up next, sustainability.
S- Sustainability is coming in a picture everywhere. I mean, most of corporations have now sustainability officer or some but a high level. Hey, we have to make sure what we are using, energy we are using, is a green energy. We are minimizing waste. So it's sustainable, it's just not environment. It's three bottom line kind of social impact. All those things are together in sustainability. But again, as a good sustainability program, we need to ensure we are minimizing waste, we are using the right energy, environmentally keeping our byproducts which get out clean and all those kind of things. So we have a great stake doing the right thing in as part of sustainability in our plans.
We also have to have a sustainable reliability program.
That's right. That's an other component because it's not just sustainable environment.
Yeah,
We have to sustain whatever all those things we have talked, building blocks.
yeah, yeah.
We need to be sustaining it, and that's a big challenge, and that's another part of sustainability.
Okay, last one on corporate responsibility. We've got employee engagement.
know, there are a lot of company they advertise they're the best company from employees' point of view. They like them. Why they like them? They get them in more. When people are working, when the people are happier there, their morale is happy. They produce right stuff. They do a quality job. They produce, they have become more productive. So employee engagement, making sure, you know, in fact, when I was writing my third edition, in the last chapter, there is a wellness, making people involved. We are some programs making sure people are on board. We are providing right opportunity. All those things are part of employee engagement. So it's not that hey, that's not part of making alignment. That's a part of whole thing. We have to make sure our people are happy, they're well, they're healthy, all those kind of things, making them engage what we do.
First of all, an engaged employee is more productive. Not only does it help the employee from a human perspective, but it also helps the business because they're more productive. This is a great gauge on whether or not leadership is doing a fantastic job inside the company because money and pay and increases only last so long. People need to feel like they belong to something greater than themselves, and they want that and desire that. And employee engagement helps measure whether or not an organization is successful at creating that type of environment. Okay, Ramesh, let's, wow, holy cow, we've got a lot of stuff to cover. So let's go back here. We're going to talk a little bit about, well, how does someone utilize this framework? So now we've got a visual representation of your body of work to some degree, certainly not all encompassing. You've got an incredible body of work. First, before we kind of go down how we're going to use this and what people can use this for, um, I just want to show you a little appreciation for, not only this contribution to our industry, but I don't know anyone that has contributed more to maintenance and reliability than Ramesh Gulati. You
No,
not
there are a
only
lot.
are the reliability Sherpa, but you are selfless. You are a continuing learner. You consistently share that knowledge free of charge to anyone that's willing to listen. I just want to pause a moment in the middle of our webinar here and just say thank you. Thank you for just being yourself.
No, hey, I really, it's my, uh, I mean, I should be thankful to all of you listening to me. And again, as you said, yeah, I'm still learning. Every day I do this for, whenever I talk or listen, I learn something. And I want to share as much as I can. Yes, nowadays, with my, I mean, you don't want to be old. I just am saying, you get tired, but still I enjoy talking to people and sharing my knowledge. And I'll keep doing as much as I can. So hey, thank you for all you guys, my supporters, or my listening, reading my book, and all of you guys help me to do this and keep continuing to.
Excellent. Okay, so now I'm somebody watching the webinar, and a new framework has come out. I'm going to go to the Reliability X website and download this framework, and I've got some visual
Well,
representation sitting in front of me. How do I build a like? What's next? What can I do with this?
Uh, let me correct a little bit here. You said new framework. It's not a new framework. It's whole thing is there in my book. We talked about it. Again, it's not spelled out by these naming. It is there, but again, that's another because we were. I was preparing this book for academia type environment. You have a chapters, you can either go through this, but now all these things there. So you have to what you have to assess in each case. You take it out, and we have assessment tool where you use the assessment tool, see where you are overall in program, and then you can tell, hey, yes, here I lack something, you know, which is I need to work on this, and then this, and then this. So then you can develop a roadmap. What you're going to do next to 2 to 5 years or something. Hey, slowly, hey, where is it more important to you? What you have? How you going to educate people, and you can come and develop your more roadmap. That is strategy development, and then develop a roadmap from there.
I think that's fantastic, Ramesh. So that'll allow us to uh, assess where we're at, build a strategy around the building blocks, select the ones that are most appropriate or has the most value back to the business or aligns with our vision and where we're going, and focus on those. Additionally, it allows us to communicate, right? It's a very simple communication tool. I can build some blocks together. I can send that out for folks to kind of see visually on a slide deck or whatever the case may be. This is great. I am so impressed at the work we've put in to take all of the work you've previously done and and help organize it so that folks can take the next step and build a roadmap for themselves. To that end, let's kind of talk a little bit about what the next steps will be. I think for that, let's see if we can't find where I may have put that. Oh, here we go. So, for more information or an explanation on any domain, please email us at ask@reliabilityx.com. Stay tuned for details. We have an upcoming live Q&A session. This will be a first come, first serve session. There will only be 100 seats. It will be questions via chat, and Ramesh and I will be answering the questions regarding the framework. We'll continue to release some more information, Ramesh. We're going to continue to
Yeah.
go. Full steam ahead with this. We have an upcoming workshop that we're in the planning process of now. That'll be multiple days where we assess fully against the framework and help folks learn how to build a strategy from the ground up. That sounds pretty exciting. Are you excited for that?
Excited. I'm looking forward to sometime in the next few weeks, and we'll be doing that.
Oh, this is going to be it's going to be epic. I'm really proud to have worked with you on the workshop that we were supposed to do at SMRP. Unfortunately, SMRP had to be canceled. And so we're going to do that virtually over a couple of sessions, and it's going to be pretty exciting. Ramesh, any additional information you'd like to share with folks before we call it quits for today?
Keep learning, keep, see what else you have to do, build your vision, build your mission, and create values and develop a roadmap where you want to be in your personal life or your nationwide, whatever you want to. Okay, but keep learning and doing the right stuff.
Excellent. Well, Ramesh, thank you so much for your time today. Thanks for all of the hard work that you have put in for several decades to build the wealth of knowledge that you are sharing with folks. And thanks for spending some time to help release the framework and continue to add value to countless individuals' reliability journey.
Thank you, George. Well, hey, my advice to all my friends is to keep learning, keep doing the right stuff, and really think about your vision, your own vision, as well as company vision, and where you want to be, what you want to do. Develop your strategy and a roadmap where you want to be, where you want to take your department, your company, wherever. Have a roadmap and then do it. Okay, learn, keep doing, share the knowledge too. Keep getting informed, involved, and those kind of things. Well, take care.
Excellent. For Ramesh Gulati, I'm George Williams. Enjoy the framework, put it to use, give us feedback. We can't wait to hear what your thoughts are on it, and go make tomorrow better than today.
That's right. Take care.